First contact. Worst Contact Commander Maya Chen watched the holographic display with narrowed eyes, the blue light illuminating her face in the dim control room of Artemis Station. Earth hung below them, a swirl of blue and white against the darkness of space. The International Space Station, humanity's pride and most advanced outpost, had been her home for the past 6 months. "Commander, we're picking up anomalous readings at the edge of our solar system," Lieutenant James Harrison reported, his British accent crisp despite the tension in his voice. "Multiple objects, moving at speeds that violate our understanding of physics." Chen moved to his station, studying the data. "Natural phenomena? No, ma'am. The objects are decelerating and changing course. They're headed directly for Earth." For 3 days, Artemis Station tracked the objects as they approached. The world below carried on, largely unaware of what was coming. Only the highest levels of government and military had been informed, and even they weren't sure what to make of the data. "They've reached Mars orbit," Harrison announced on the 4th morning. 17 vessels of varying sizes. The largest is approximately 3 kilometers in length. Chen activated the station-wide comm. "All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill." The first transmission came without warning, bypassing all of Earth's communication systems, simultaneously. Every screen on the planet, from smartphones to stadium displays, showed the same image. A humanoid figure with iridescent blue-green skin, 4 eyes arranged vertically, and no visible mouth. "People of Earth," the translation, appeared as text below the alien's face. "I am Admiral Vexaloran of the Talaxian Dominion. Your world has been selected for resource extraction. Resistance is ill-advised but anticipated. You have 6 hours to prepare your surrender protocols." The UN Security Council convened immediately. Representatives from every major power argued over the appropriate response, but Chen knew from her vantage point what they couldn't see. Smaller craft were already deploying from the alien fleet. "They're not waiting 6 hours," she reported to General William Martinez at NASA Command. "They're launching now." The invasion began with precision strikes against military installations worldwide. Alien craft entered Earth's atmosphere, their hulls glowing red-hot before advanced shielding technology activated, rendering them nearly invisible to radar. In Washington, D.C., Beijing, Moscow, New Delhi, and other capitals, government buildings were reduced to rubble in minutes. Power grids failed across continents. Communication networks collapsed. At Artemis Station, Commander Chen and her crew watched helplessly as humanity faced its darkest hour. "We need to do something," Dr. Elias Okafor, the station's lead scientist, insisted. Nigerian by birth, but educated at MIT and Cambridge, Okafor had been studying the alien vessels since they first appeared. "They haven't targeted us yet. Perhaps they don't consider a space station a threat. Or they're saving us for last," Harrison muttered. Chen shook her head. "Either way, we have a unique perspective, and possibly our only advantage. Dr. Okafor, what have you learned about their technology?" Okafor pulled up his findings on the main display. "Their ships emit a unique radiation signature in the gamma spectrum. It appears to be a byproduct of their propulsion system. But here's the interesting part. It fluctuates in a regular pattern when they fire their weapons or adjust their shields. You're saying their offensive and defensive systems are connected to their engines?" Chen asked. "Precisely, and if we could disrupt that specific frequency..." Okafor let the implication hang in the air. For the next 12 hours, as the aliens methodically destroyed humanity's military capabilities, the crew of Artemis worked frantically. They repurposed the station's experimental quantum communication array, originally designed to maintain contact with deep space missions, into something entirely different. "It's ready," Okafor announced, his face streaked with sweat despite the station's cooling systems. "But we'll only get one shot. The power requirements will burn out most of our systems." Chen looked at the faces of her crew. 23 men and women representing 11 nations. Then she glanced at the view screen showing Earth, where fires now burned across every continent. "Send the signal," she ordered. The station hummed as power diverted to Okafor's device. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the alien ships nearest to Earth faltered, their smooth, controlled movements became erratic. Several smaller craft plummeted from the sky, crashing into unpopulated areas. "It's working," Harrison exclaimed. "For now," Okafor cautioned. "We've disrupted their systems, but they'll adapt quickly." Chen activated the emergency communication channel to Earth's remaining military commands. "This is Commander Chen on Artemis. Station, we've identified a vulnerability in the alien fleet's systems, transmitting data now." Around the world, humanity began to rally. The aliens had expected a swift surrender, not understanding that humans fought hardest when backed into a corner. In the skies over Africa, pilots flying decades-old fighter jets modified with hastily attached transmitters managed to bring down advanced alien craft. In the South China Sea, submarines surfaced to launch modified missiles that didn't try to penetrate the alien shields, but instead bombarded them with the specific frequency Okafor had identified. Admiral Vexaloran's voice boomed across global channels again. "Your resistance is unexpected, but futile. We have conquered worlds far more advanced than yours." "They sound concerned," Harrison noted with grim satisfaction. Chen nodded. "They should be, because now we're fighting back. The counterattack had begun, but Chen knew they needed more than a temporary disruption. They needed a way to drive the invaders from Earth permanently, and to do that, they would need to understand more about the enemy they faced. "Dr. Okafor," she said, "can you modify a shuttle to approach their command ship without being detected?" Okafor considered for a moment. "If we mask our signature using what we've learned about their technology, possibly." "Good, because I'm going to board their vessel." Harrison stared at her in disbelief. "Commander, with all due respect, that's suicide." "Maybe," Chen agreed. "But we need intelligence and we need it fast. The disruption we've caused won't hold them for long." As the crew prepared a shuttle for the mission, Earth's military forces coordinated a worldwide assault on the alien fleet. It wasn't about winning anymore. It was about buying time. In labs and workshops across the planet, scientists and engineers worked frantically to adapt Okafor's discovery into weapons that could be mass-produced. University professors worked alongside high school students, corporate researchers alongside garage inventors. Humanity's greatest strength, its diversity of thought and approach, was becoming its salvation. The shuttle was ready within 3 hours. Chen selected a small team, herself, Okafor, and Lieutenant Sofia Diaz, a Marine with combat experience who had been on Artemis as part of a security detail. "Our objective is simple," Chen briefed them as they prepared to depart. "We infiltrate their command ship, gather whatever intelligence we can about their technology and weaknesses, and transmit it back to Earth." "And if we're captured?" Diaz asked, checking her sidearm, one of the few conventional weapons they carried. "Then we make sure they regret it," Chen replied, securing the last of Okafor's specialized equipment. "Humanity doesn't surrender, not today, not ever." As their shuttle detached from Artemis, they watched the space station recede behind them. Below, Earth burned. Ahead, the massive alien command ship loomed against the stars. They were 3 humans in a hastily modified shuttle, heading toward a vessel crewed by beings they barely understood, armed with technology centuries beyond their own. But they had something the Talaxians hadn't counted on: the indomitable human spirit that had carried their species from caves to the stars. And now, that same spirit would either save their world or go down fighting in the attempt. The shuttle accelerated toward the alien mothership, carrying humanity's desperate hope. The pushback protocol. The modified shuttle approached the Talaxian command ship, its profile masked by Dr. Okafor's ingenious adjustments. Commander Chen piloted manually, avoiding the automated flight paths that might trigger the aliens' detection systems. Their hangar shields operate on a rotating frequency, Okafor whispered, though there was no need for silence in the vacuum of space. There, we have a 3-second window. Chen gunned the engines, and the shuttle slipped through the momentary gap in the alien vessel's defenses. They landed hard but undetected among the sleek, insectoid craft that filled the massive hangar bay. Atmosphere is breathable, Diaz confirmed, checking her equipment. Slightly higher oxygen content than Earth. Watch for increased flammability. They moved through the alien ship like ghosts, Okafor's handheld device guiding them past security measures. The ship's interior was unsettling, organic curves melded with geometric precision, surfaces that appeared solid one moment and translucent the next. It's like they don't distinguish between technology and biology, Okafor marveled, scanning a pulsating wall conduit. Their entire ship might be partially alive. Stay focused, Chen reminded him. We need their command center. They found it at the heart of the vessel, a massive spherical chamber where dozens of Talaxians worked at stations that seemed to grow from the floor. Admiral Vexaloran stood on a raised platform, his 4 eyes monitoring multiple holographic displays showing Earth's continued resistance. Impossible, they heard him mutter, the ship's systems automatically translating his speech. How are they adapting so quickly? From their hidden observation point, Chen signaled Diaz to deploy Okafor's specialized recording devices. They needed to capture as much data as possible about the aliens' tactical systems. The humans have discovered the gamma field vulnerability, another Talaxian reported. They're modifying their primitive weapons to exploit it. Vexaloran's skin darkened with anger. Accelerate the extraction timetable. Begin atmospheric siphoning immediately. We'll take what we need and sterilize this world. Chen felt her blood run cold. They weren't just here for resources. They planned to strip Earth's atmosphere and leave the planet uninhabitable. Okafor tugged at her sleeve, pointing to his scanner. Commander, I'm detecting something extraordinary. The ship's core. It's not mechanical or nuclear. It's biological. Chen made a rapid decision. Change of plans. We're not just gathering intelligence. We're going to sabotage their core. They slipped away from the command center, following Okafor's readings deeper into the ship. The passageways became more organic, pulsing with an eerie bioluminescence. It's like we're inside a living organism, Diaz whispered. In a sense, we are, Okafor confirmed. Their technology appears to be a symbiosis between mechanical components and bioengineered organic systems. They reached a massive chamber where a crystalline structure pulsed with energy at the center, suspended in a viscous fluid. Tendrils extended from it, connecting to the ship's systems. That's it, Okafor breathed. Their power source, it's some kind of engineered biological entity that generates and channels energy. Fascinating and horrifying. Chen studied the chamber's defenses. Can we disable it? Not easily, Okafor admitted. But I've been analyzing their biology from our scans. The Talaxians have a fundamental weakness. Their cellular structure is highly sensitive to certain frequencies of ultrasonic vibration. Like how a singer can shatter glass with the right note, Diaz asked. Precisely. And if this core is biological, sharing their fundamental DNA, Chen understood immediately. It would be vulnerable to the same frequency. Back on Earth, humanity's resistance had become more coordinated. The Emergency Global Defense System, a theoretical protocol developed but never implemented during Cold War tensions, was finally activated. Nations that had been enemies for generations now fought side by side against a common threat. In labs across the planet, scientists replicated and improved upon Okafor's initial discovery. The disruption that had once been temporary became sustained, targeting the specific frequencies that disabled the aliens' integrated systems. The Talaxian fleet began to falter. Ships that had seemed invincible now struggled to maintain their positions in Earth's atmosphere, Some crashed, others retreated to higher orbits. But Admiral Vexaloran's command ship remained operational, and the atmospheric siphoning had begun. Great columns of air were being pulled from Earth's surface, creating devastating weather patterns and pressure differentials that collapsed buildings and tore landscapes apart. On the alien vessel, Chen, Okafor, and Diaz worked frantically to modify their equipment. If we can generate a powerful enough ultrasonic pulse at exactly the right frequency, Okafor explained, we might be able to disrupt the core's cellular cohesion. How powerful are we talking? Chen asked. Okafor's expression was grim. Powerful enough that we'll need to be right next to it, and powerful enough that the feedback will likely kill us too. Diaz checked her weapon. Then we need a plan B. I think I have one, Chen said, studying the organic tendrils that connected the core to the ship's systems. We don't need to destroy it. We just need to change its instructions. Okafor caught on quickly. Reprogram it? Commander, that's brilliant. These bioorganic systems must receive and transmit information like neural networks. If we can introduce a conflicting signal pattern... Can you do it? Chen asked. With the right access point, yes. They identified a neural junction where multiple tendrils converged. As Okafor worked to interface their equipment with the alien biology, Chen established contact with Earth. This is Commander Chen. We've infiltrated the alien command ship and located their primary power source. Transmitting all data now. General Martinez's voice came back, broken but audible. We're receiving, Commander. Your intel has been invaluable. We've coordinated a global counteroffensive, but that atmospheric siphoning is causing catastrophic damage. We're working on that, Chen assured him. Stand by. Okafor's fingers flew over his equipment. I'm attempting to introduce a recursive logic pattern into their neural network. If it works, the core should essentially give itself contradictory instructions. How long? Chen asked. Minutes to implement, hours before it fully cascades through their systems. We don't have hours. Diaz, who had been keeping watch, suddenly hissed a warning. Company! A squad of Talaxian security forces rounded the corner, their weapons raised. Chen and Diaz took defensive positions, shielding Okafor as he continued working. Keep going, Chen ordered, firing her modified weapon. The ultrasonic pulse it emitted caused the first Talaxian to convulse and collapse. A firefight erupted in the narrow corridor. The Talaxians' energy weapons scorched the organic walls, but Chen and Diaz's ultrasonic weapons proved devastatingly effective. Still, they were outnumbered. Almost there, Okafor called. Just need to finalize the recursive sequence. Chen took a hit to her shoulder, the energy blast searing through her suit. Diaz was bleeding from a gash across her forehead. Their position was becoming untenable. Done! Okafor announced triumphantly. The sequence is uploaded and... The ship shuddered violently. Lights flickered and the organic walls pulsed erratically. And working faster than expected, he finished, looking surprised. The Talaxian security forces faltered, their weapons powering down as the ship's systems began to fail. Chen seized the opportunity. Back to the shuttle, now! They fought their way back through the disoriented alien crew. Throughout the ship, systems were shutting down or behaving erratically. The Talaxians, so confident in their superior technology, were now in chaos. When they reached the hangar bay, they found Admiral Vexaloran waiting with a final squad of guards. Humans, he snarled, his translator glitching but functional. You primitive vermin! How dare you infect my ship with your crude interference? That's humanity for you, Chen replied, weapon raised. We're adaptable, and we don't surrender our home without a fight. Your resistance is impressive but meaningless, Vexaloran said. Even if you destroy this ship, the Dominion will send others. Your world is too valuable to abandon. Then we'll be ready for them too. The standoff was broken by another violent shudder that rocked the entire ship. The hangar bay doors began opening and closing randomly as Okafor's recursive sequence, spread through the ship's neural network. In the confusion, Chen, Diaz, and Okafor made a break for their shuttle. Energy blasts from the aliens' weapons scored the hull as they sealed the airlock and powered up the engines. "The hangar shields are fluctuating," Okafor reported. "We have an opening." Chen piloted the shuttle through the chaos of the failing alien vessel. Behind them, the massive command ship was beginning to list in orbit, its control systems fighting against contradictory commands. As they escaped, they witnessed the effects of their sabotage cascading through the Talaxian fleet. Ship after ship lost power or veered off course. The atmospheric siphoning stopped as the technology controlling it failed. Earth's coordinated counterattack, armed with the knowledge Chen's team had transmitted, struck the vulnerable alien vessels. Within hours, the invaders who had expected an easy conquest were in full retreat. The command ship itself never left Earth orbit. Its systems so thoroughly compromised by Okafor's recursive sequence, it drifted powerless until Earth's hastily assembled defense forces could secure it. 1 week after the invasion began, it was over. The surviving Talaxian ships fled the solar system, their once overwhelming technology neutralized by human ingenuity and determination. At a ceremony at the United Nations, Commander Chen, arm still in a sling from her injuries, addressed representatives from every nation. "The Talaxians thought us primitive and expected our surrender," she said. "They didn't understand that. Humanity doesn't measure advancement solely by technology, but by resilience, creativity, and courage." Dr. Okafor, now heading the international team studying the captured alien technology, stepped forward. "From this encounter, we've gained knowledge that would have taken us centuries to develop on our own. But more importantly, we've discovered our greatest strength, our unity in the face of extinction." Lieutenant Diaz, representing the military forces that had fought worldwide, added, "And we've sent a message to the stars. Earth is protected. We may be young as a spacefaring species, but we are fierce in defense of our home." In the years that followed, humanity underwent a transformation. The technology salvaged from the Talaxian vessels accelerated human development in ways previously unimaginable. International cooperation, born of necessity during the invasion, became the new normal, and far beyond Earth's solar system, word spread through the interstellar community. The small blue planet that had repelled the Talaxian dominion was not to be underestimated. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy not with peaceful exploration, but with defiant resistance. And the stars would never look at Earth the same way again. As Commander Maya Chen gazed up at the night sky from her home in Hong Kong, she wondered what new challenges awaited humanity among those distant points of light. Whatever came next, she knew one thing with absolute certainty: they would face it together, and they would not back down. Because that's what humans do. They adapt, they fight, they survive. And woe to those who mistake their compassion for weakness or their youth for vulnerability. The Talaxians had learned that lesson the hard way. Humanity was just getting started.